My child, I need you to stop everything and listen very closely, for a story is unfolding right now in the spiritual realm that will grip your heart and change the way you see your daily life. Imagine a street so quiet that you can hear the wind whispering through the trees, a place that feels safe and familiar, the kind of place where you would never expect darkness to hide. But there, parked silently at the corner, sits a black van with its engine cut, blending perfectly into the shadows of the evening. Inside this vehicle waits a man who is not there by accident. His eyes are sharp, his breathing is steady, and his mind is racing with a cold, calculated intent. He is not just a common criminal looking for a quick score. He is a professional who has calculated every move and every second of this operation. His plan is flawless, rehearsed in his mind 1,000 times, and his target is just a few steps away, completely unaware of the danger lurking just feet from their path. The door of the van is ready to slide open, his muscles are tense to spring, but then, in a split second, something happens that he never saw coming. His hands freeze on the handle, his breath catches in his throat, and instead of attacking, he bolts, leaving his meticulous plan in absolute ruins. You need to understand why he ran, because this twist concerns you more than you know. This wasn't just any target walking down the street. It was someone who looks like you, someone who lives in a world very close to yours, perhaps even someone you know. The man in the van wasn't there for money, he wasn't there for power, and he wasn't there for jewelry or expensive items. What this man was hired to take was something far darker, something that will shake you to your very core when you realize the depth of the evil that exists. Let us dive deep into this moment, because the truth is about to unravel, and it is unlike anything you have ever heard before. The van was parked on a street so still it felt like the world was holding its breath, and the man inside wasn't nervous at all. At first he was calm, focused like a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike, watching the target move closer with every step. His gloves were on, his tools were arranged, and his escape route was mapped out in his head because he had done things like this before. He knew how to move in the dark, how to disappear before anyone realized he was there, and how to take what he wanted without leaving a trace. The target was close now, walking down the sidewalk, perhaps humming a tune or thinking about their day, completely unaware of the eyes watching them. Just a few more steps, and it would all be over. His hand reached for the door handle, ready to slide it back and end the target's freedom. His heart was steady, his resolve was firm, but then a single sharp sound broke the silence of the van. His phone buzzed just once. He tried to ignore it at first, annoyed at the distraction in such a critical moment, but something inside him, a feeling he couldn't explain, forced him to look. So he did, and when his eyes scanned the message on the screen, the atmosphere in the van shifted instantly. The man who had been so sure, so ready and so cold, was suddenly trembling like a leaf caught in a violent storm. He didn't slide the door open. He didn't step out into the night to claim his prize. Instead, terror gripped him. He slammed the van into gear and sped away, tires screeching, leaving the target untouched and completely unaware of how close they came to harm. You must be asking, what could scare a man like that? What could make someone so cold and calculated run like he had seen a ghost? My child, it wasn't the fear of police sirens wailing in the distance, nor was it the fear of a witness shouting from a window. It was the message itself, the specific words glowing on that small screen in the darkness. They weren't just instructions on where to go or what to do. They were a glimpse into pure evil. It was something that made even a hardened man, a man used to sin, want to flee as fast as he could. The message came from the one who hired him, not a friend or a partner, but someone with a heart full of absolute shadows. This wasn't a random job, my child. This was planned carefully by someone who knew the target intimately, someone who had watched them and studied their every move. But what they wanted wasn't what you would expect in a kidnapping or a robbery. It wasn't cash, it wasn't gold, and it wasn't secrets. It was something far worse, something that violated the laws of nature and spirit. The message told him exactly what to do once he had the target in his possession, and it made his blood run cold. It wasn't about holding them for ransom to get a payout from a wealthy family. No, the instructions were clear and terrifying. Take the target alive and bring something specific back. Not their money, not their wedding ring, but something sacred, something that would stain the soul of anyone who dared to touch it. The man read the first line, and his world tilted on its axis. His breath grew short, and his pulse pounded loudly in his ears. The words weren't normal. They didn't sound human. They spoke of a ritual, a demand so dark it made his stomach turn in knots. He was supposed to take the target to a remote place where no one would ever find them, and then he was to collect something from them, not their physical possessions, but something personal, something tied to their very essence. The message explicitly said to bring a piece of their spirit, a token of their soul, something that could only be taken through extreme pain and fear. This wasn't a physical thing you could hold in a bag, it was a spiritual binding, something that would tie the target to the one who hired him forever. This wasn't just a crime, my child, this was a transaction with darkness itself. The one behind it didn't want wealth or power in the way men usually desire it. They wanted control, not over the body, but over the soul of the innocent target. They wanted to break something pure, to twist something good into something wicked and unrecognizable. And the target, oh my child, the target was someone you would recognize if you saw them, someone who laughs with you, who shares your streets, your spaces, someone whose light shines so bright it caught the eye of deep envy. This wasn't random. The one who planned this knew them, watched them daily, and hated them for the light they carried. They hated them for their peace, their joy, and for having a life untouched by the shadows that consumed the planner's own heart. The man in the van wasn't a stranger to sin. He had done bad things before. He had walked dark paths and done things most people would never admit to in their darkest confessions. But this was different. Even he could feel the crushing weight of it, the absolute wrongness of the request. His hands shook uncontrollably as he read the message again, hoping he had misunderstood the text, but the words were clear as day. They burned into his mind, each word heavier than the last, and he saw the truth. This wasn't just a job for money. This was a step into something ancient, something forbidden, and in that moment something inside him screamed to stop. Not his conscience, for he had buried that long ago, but something else, something bigger than him. It was as if the air in the van grew thick, the shadows deep. And more oppressive. He felt watched, not by human eyes, but by something greater, something divine. He didn't know it, my child, but that was me. My presence filled that van, and my light pierced the darkness he was sitting in. The man didn't see me with his eyes, didn't hear me with his ears, but he felt me in his bones. He felt the weight of heaven's gaze upon him, and it was too much for a mortal soul to bear. He couldn't move forward with the plan. He couldn't follow through with the wickedness. The message had shaken him, yes, but it was my hand that stopped him. If you believe that I am protecting you right now from dangers you cannot see, I want you to type "I am covered" in the comments. Let this be your declaration that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I stood between the target and the evil that hunted them, and I broke the plan before it could even begin. The van sped away, tires screeching, because the man knew deep in his bones that this wasn't just a failed job. It was a warning, a divine line he couldn't cross. But the mystery remains: who was the target? Why were they chosen? And who was the one pulling the strings? The one who dared to dream up such a wicked plan against an innocent soul? We must uncover the planner next, for their identity is the most shocking part of all. The target, my child, was someone closer to you than you could possibly imagine, someone whose life is woven into the very fabric of your world. It wasn't just a name on a list or a random face in the crowd. It was a person whose voice you have heard, whose presence you have felt. It might be the neighbor who waves at you every morning, the friend who shares your coffee breaks, or the family member whose children play with yours. But I want you to lean in closer, because the truth is often hiding in the mirror. The target, the one whose light was so bright it attracted the darkness, was a representation of you. The one who planned this attack didn't choose a stranger. They chose someone they knew, someone they had watched for a long time. They chose someone who carries a light that they themselves have lost, someone who walks in a peace they cannot seem to find, no matter how hard they search. The target's life isn't perfect, but it is blessed. They have something others desperately want, not money or expensive cars, but a deep, abiding joy. That peace, that simple ability to smile through the storm, drew the attention of someone else, someone whose heart had grown cold and bitter over the years. The one behind the van, the planner of this wicked scheme, wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows of an alley. It was someone who had crossed paths with the target before, someone who had smiled in their face while hiding a raging storm inside their chest. Jealousy had taken root in the planner's heart, starting as a small seed of discontent, but growing rapidly into a tangled forest of something ugly. It transformed from a simple wish to have what the target had into a burning need to destroy it. They saw the target's happiness, their blessings, and their resilience, and instead of being inspired, it burned them like acid. The question, why them, echoed in their mind day and night, festering until it turned into why not me, and finally into if I can't have it, neither can they. That question became a poison that corrupted their spirit, turning envy into hate, and that hate eventually solidified into a plan. They didn't just want to hurt the target physically. That would have been too simple, too temporary for the depth of their malice. They wanted to take something from them that could never be replaced, something that would leave a hole in their soul forever. They wanted to steal the very essence of what made tea. He target shine, hoping that by breaking the vessel they could extinguish the light. And they were willing to do anything to make it happen, even if it meant stepping into the shadows of evil itself and making deals with darkness. But I saw it all, my child. I saw the plan forming in their heart before it was ever whispered to an accomplice. I knew the target's name before the van ever parked on that quiet street, and I knew the intent behind the order. I was already moving, already working in the unseen realms to protect what is mine, because no plan of darkness can stand against me. No scheme of evil, no matter how carefully calculated or highly paid, can touch those I have covered with my hand. The target is safe today, not because the man in the van simply changed his mind or lost his nerve. The target is safe because I changed the atmosphere. I filled that moment with a presence so heavy that even a man lost in sin couldn't ignore it. He ran not from the police, not from the fear of being caught by human authorities, but from me. He ran from the undeniable truth that some lines cannot be crossed and some souls are off-limits to the enemy. Let us go deeper into this, my child, because this story isn't just about a van or a failed kidnapping. It is about the battles you don't see, the invisible wars raging all around you every single day. Every day there are forces moving, some sent to lift you up and propel you toward your destiny, and some sent to pull you down into despair. The target didn't know they were in danger. As they walked down that street, they were oblivious to the van and the man inside, but they were never alone. Not for a single second were they unguarded. I was there watching, guarding, and turning evil's plans into dust before they could even manifest. And you, my child, you are never alone either, no matter how isolated you am. A feel in your struggles. You might not see the threats that loom in the distance, the shadows that try to creep into your life when your guard is down. But I do. I see every step before it is taken, every trap before it is set, and every plan before it is formed. I am always one step ahead of the enemy, always positioning my angels to intercept the danger. Think about the target for a moment. Picture them clearly in your mind. A person who carries light, who walks through life with a smile that makes others feel warm and welcome. Maybe it is someone who has helped you in the past, someone who shared a kind word when you felt like giving up. Their life isn't perfect. They have bills, they have struggles, they have pain just like anyone else. But they have peace, a peace that surpasses understanding, and that is what makes them a target. That peace drew the attention of someone else, someone whose heart had grown cold and desperate for what they could not find. The planner, the one who hired the van, wasn't born evil. No child enters the world with a heart full of hate. They were someone who once laughed, who once dreamed, but somewhere along the way they let bitterness take the wheel. A small seed of envy was planted, perhaps years ago, and because it wasn't rooted out, it grew into a forest of hate. And that hate led them to a place where darkness could whisper its plans, where evil ideas sounded like justice to their twisted mind. That is how it starts, my child, not with a grand evil scheme announced with trumpets. It starts with a single thought, a single moment of weakness where gratitude is replaced by comparison. A thought like, "Why do they have what I don't?" enters the mind. That thought, left unchecked, becomes a chain that binds the heart and clouds the judgment. It opens the door to things that should never be invited in, creating a foothold for the enemy to build a stronghold. The planner didn't wake up one day and suddenly decide to do something so dark and irreversible. It was a slow fall, a step-by-step descent into a place where the light couldn't reach them anymore. They looked at the target's joy and couldn't stand the reflection of their own misery. They saw the target's blessings and felt cheated by life, feeling that they deserved what the other person had. And instead of turning to me, instead of asking for their own path and their own healing, they listened to a voice that promised them power, a voice that promised them control over the one thing they couldn't attain on their own. But here is the ultimate truth, my child. No one can steal what I have given. No one can take the light I have placed in you or in those I love, no matter how hard they try. The planner thought they could control the target, thought they could break them and take what wasn't theirs. But they forgot one thing, me. They forgot that I am the one who sets the boundaries of the earth and the soul. I am the one who draws the lines in the sand and says, "This far and no further." The man in the van was just their tool, a hired hand to do the dirty work. But even he, a man with a hardened heart, couldn't cross the line I had drawn around that innocent soul. When he read that message, when he saw what was really being asked of him, he felt it in his gut. He felt the weight of something bigger than himself, something he couldn't fight or reason with. That was my hand pressing down on the situation. That was my power intervening to save a life. That was my promise to protect what is mine coming to life in a dark van on a quiet street. Now, let us talk about you, my child, and bring this home. Because this story isn't just about the target or the van or the mysterious planner. It is about the battles in your own life, the ones you face every day when you walk out your door. You might not have a black van parked on your street right now, but there are moments when darkness tries to creep in, masquerading as doubt or fear. To seal your protection against these unseen forces, I want you to take a moment right now. Type "God is my shield" in the comments to align yourself with my protection. Let the enemy know that you are aware and that you are covered by the Most High. My child, maybe it is a thought that tells you that you are not enough, whispering in the quiet moments when you are most vulnerable. Maybe it is a fear that keeps you tossing and turning at night, stealing the rest that your body and spirit desperately need. Maybe it is someone else's envy, their sharp words, or their subtle actions trying to dim your light and make you feel small. But hear me clearly, my child. You are covered by my hand, and that covering is impenetrable. You are mine, and no plan, no scheme, and no shadow can touch what I have claimed for myself. The target walking down that street didn't know what was coming, but they didn't need to know the details of the danger. They didn't need to see the van or the man inside, because I knew, and I was already there before the enemy arrived. And I am here for you too, in every moment of your life, guarding your going out and your coming in. Every step you take, every challenge you face, I am walking right there with you, closer than your own breath. The planner thought they could control the outcome, thought they could dictate the end of the story with their wicked scheme. But they were wrong. I turned their calculated plan into absolute chaos and confusion. I turned their confidence into fear, and I will do the exact same thing for you, against anyone who rises against you, whatever is trying to hold you back right in. Ow! Whatever is trying to steal your peace or your joy, it is no match for me. I am bigger than your fears, stronger than your enemies, and greater than your struggles. Let us go back to that street for a moment and picture the scene again. Imagine the target walking along, maybe humming a song, maybe thinking about their day completely at ease. They had no idea what was waiting in that van, no idea how close they came to a danger that could have changed everything. But they didn't need to know, because I was already moving on their behalf. My angels were already in place. My hand was already on the situation, blocking the path of destruction. The man in the van thought he was in control, but he was merely a pawn in a game he couldn't win. The planner thought they had won, but they were wrong too, and the darkness that whispered to them was silenced. It was powerless the moment I stepped in, the moment I decided that enough was enough. That is what I want you to hold on to, my child. Hold tight to this truth. You don't have to see every threat to be safe from it. You don't need to know every plot against you. You don't have to fight every battle to win it, because some battles are mine to fight. I am fighting for you, standing guard, turning plans against you into testimonies of my power. The target is still here, still smiling, still shining, because I said so, and my word is final. And you are still here, still standing, still moving forward, because I am with you always. Now, let us talk about the planner, the one who started this whole nightmare in the first place, the one who sat in the shadows and ordered the destruction of an innocent soul. They weren't always like this. They didn't start out as a monster filled with hate. Once, they were someone you might have trusted, someone who seemed kind and normal, someone who laughed and lived. Boo. Something changed in them. A shift happened deep within their heart that went unnoticed by the world. There was a wound they never healed, a hurt they refused to let go of that festered over time. It grew into something dark, something that consumed them from the inside out. They looked at the target's life, saw their joy, and it felt like a mirror showing them everything they didn't have. Instead of choosing to heal, instead of seeking peace, they chose to hate, allowing bitterness to take root. Instead of seeking me, they sought control, wanting to drag someone else down to their level of misery, and that choice led them to a place where darkness could use them, could twist their pain into a weapon. But even they are not beyond my reach, my child, for I see all hearts. I see their heart just like I see yours, and I know the root of their bitterness and pain. I know their pain just like I know yours. And while their plan failed, while their darkness was exposed, I'm still calling to them. I'm still offering a way back because that is who I am. I'm a God of redemption. I don't just protect the light, I chase the shadows too, seeking to save the lost. I don't just save the target, I reach for the one who is lost in their own hatred. But they have a choice just like you do. They have free will to decide their path. They can turn back to the light, or they can keep running into the dark, and that choice will decide what comes next for them. Let us step into the target's world for a moment, my child, and see the aftermath of my protection. After that day, they kept walking, kept living, completely unaware of the danger they had escaped. But something changed in them, even if they didn't know why or how. They felt a new strength rising within, a deeper peace settling in their soul. It was as if something unseen had wrapped around them, shielding them from the cold winds of the world. Their laughter grew brighter, their steps became more sure and confident. They didn't know about the van, the message, or the wicked plan. But they felt me, they felt my presence, my protection, and my love surrounding them. And that changed them, made them bolder, made them shine even more than before. That is what my protection does, my child. It transforms you from the inside out. It doesn't just keep you safe from harm, it makes you stronger in the process. It doesn't just stop the enemy at the gate, it lifts you higher above the fray. The target went home that night, sat with their family, shared a meal, and laughed like nothing had happened. But something had happened. I had happened in their life. I had stood in the gap, turned back the darkness, and kept their light burning bright. And I am doing the same for you every single day, whether you see it or not. Think about your own life, my child. Look back at your journey. Think about the moments you have walked through, the times you felt weak, afraid, or unsure. Maybe you didn't see the threats, didn't know how close danger came to your door, but you are still here, you are still breathing, still standing, still hoping. Why? Because I was there. I was in the shadows, in the storms, in the moments when you thought you couldn't go on. I was the one who carried you, who shielded you, who turned the plans against you into dust. You are not just surviving, my child, you are thriving because I am with you. The planners' scheme collapsed, and now they are left with nothing but their own emptiness. That is what happens when you fight against my plans, my child. You cannot win against the Almighty. You don't just lose the battle, you lose everything you tried to gain through wicked means. But even now I am calling to them, offering a way out of their self-made prison. Because no one is too far gone, no heart too dark, no soul too lost to be found. My love reaches even into the deepest shadows for you, my child, but the message I have for you today is distinctly different from the one I have for the one who chases darkness. You are not the planner sitting in bitterness. You are not the one plotting in the dark because you have lost your way. You are the one I am lifting up out of the mire, the one I am guiding with a gentle hand toward a horizon filled with promise. Your life isn't a series of random accidents or meaningless struggles. Your path has been crafted with intention. Your struggles aren't punishments meant to last forever, nor are they signs that I have abandoned you to the whims of fate. Every challenge you face, every mountain that stands in your way, is actually building something magnificent within you. It is cultivating strength, courage, and a faith that cannot be shaken by the storms of this world. Every moment that feels too heavy to bear is actually preparing you for a weight of glory you cannot yet imagine. The target in our story didn't know they were in danger as they walked down that quiet street, but they were never alone in that danger. You might not see every battle raging around you. You might not see the vans parked in the shadows of your life, but rest assured, you are never alone either. Let us pause and reflect on the target's life after that fateful day, for it is a picture of what I am doing for you. They went back to their routine, work, family, friends, but something fundamental had shifted within them. They started noticing the little things more, the warmth of the sun on their face, the sound of their children's laughter, the quiet moments of gratitude that used to pass them by. They didn't know why, but they felt a shift, a deep sense that something bigger was at work in their life, watching over them. Maybe they prayed a little longer in the mornings, hugged their loved ones a little tighter before leaving, or smiled at strangers a little more warmly. They were marked not by fear of what almost happened, but by favor, my favor resting heavily upon them. My hand was on them, and it changed the way they moved through the world, giving them a confidence they didn't have before. That is what I do, my child. I don't just stop the darkness from consuming you, I multiply the light within you. The target story didn't end with a van speeding away in defeat. That was just a plot twist in a much larger narrative. It began anew with a deeper trust, a stronger hope that couldn't be shaken by circumstances. They started dreaming bigger, loving deeper, and living bolder because they knew, deep down, they were protected. And that is exactly what I am calling you to do right now, in your own life. Your life isn't meant to be small. It isn't meant to be dimmed by fear or doubt or the opinions of others. You are meant to shine, to rise, to walk in the fullness of what I have planned for you. The planner's story, though tragic, serves as a stark warning for all of us about the danger of unchecked bitterness. Their pain wasn't the problem. Pain is a part of life that everyone experiences. It was their choice that sealed their fate. They chose to let that pain curdle into hate instead of bringing it to the light. They could have turned to me, could have let me heal what was broken inside them. Instead, they fed their hurt, letting it grow into a monster that consumed them from the inside out. They looked at the target and saw everything they thought they had lost, blinding themselves to their own potential. But what they didn't see was that their own path was still waiting, still open, if only they would choose it. And now I am knocking on their heart, whispering, come back, because my love doesn't give up on anyone. But your path, my child, is different. You have chosen a different way, a way of light. You are not meant to carry bitterness or envy. You are meant to carry light and grace. The battles you face, the moments that test your resolve, they are not here to break you. They are here to build you, to forge you into something unbreakable and beautiful. Every time you choose faith over fear, love over hate, and hope over despair, you are stepping closer to your destiny. The target didn't know they were protected, but they felt it in their spirit. You might not see every way I am working behind the scenes, but you can feel it too. You feel it in the peace that comes when you least expect it, washing over you like a calm wave. You feel it in the strength that rises up within you when you think you are at your weakest. Your season is changing, my child. The winds are shifting in your favor. The weight you have carried, the pain you have felt, it is not your future, it is your history. I am breaking chains that have held you bound, opening doors that were locked, and making ways where there were none. The miracle you have prayed for, the one you have cried over in the secret place, it is coming. Not maybe, not someday in the distant future, but today, in this season. I am working in your life right now, turning the impossible into the possible. I am turning dead ends into new beginnings and sorrows into joy. You might not see it yet with your physical eyes, but it is there, moving toward you. My hand is on you, guiding, protecting, and providing. My plan is unfolding perfectly, and nothing in hell or on earth can stop it. Don't shrink back now. Don't retreat into the shadows of doubt. Don't let fear steal what I have promised you, for my promise is yes and amen. The target's light still shines because I protected it from the enemy. Your light will shine too, because I am protecting you with the same fervor. The planner's scheme fell apart because I stepped in and disrupted the darkness. And whatever is coming against you, it is already falling apart because I am here. You are not just surviving, my child. You are rising above the flood. You are not just making it through the day. You are stepping into something greater than yourself. Take a deep breath, my child, and feel that peace settling in your chest. That peace is me. Feel that strength returning to your limbs. That is me too. Your life is mine, and I am not done with you yet. Walk forward with your head high. The darkness cannot touch you. Not today, not ever. Keep going, my child. Your story is just beginning, and it is going to be bigger, brighter, and more powerful than you can imagine to ensure you stay connected to this source of strength and never miss a message meant for your spirit. Please click the subscribe button right now. Join this community of believers who choose light over darkness, and let us walk this path of victory together. Subscribe now and claim the protection over your life.